Hey folks, I am here to shoot a contest entry for Steve Carlson. Great channel. He shows very eclectic stuff. Um, and he has got a Don't Worry, Be Happy contest. We're going to try to get through this. My sinuses are raging. My throat's a little scratchy. I may have to go for the Diet A&W at some point. I hope not. But anyway, let's so what criteria did I use? Because I mean, he was talking about 5 albums that make you happy, and most of my collection makes me happy. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a collection. So I went for songs that are so joyful, music that just makes you want to move a little bit. That just when you listen to it, you can't help but be in a better mood. So I picked 5 albums. This is not a definitive list, but you know, we're gonna give it a whirl. So, what 5 albums did I pick? First one is Robert Randolph and the Family Band, Colorblind. And I picked this really off the strength of the whole album. This album is just a great album. It's how would I describe it? I guess this album is if you're riding in a car on a summer day with the breeze. That's this CD sounds like that. That's about the only way I can describe it. So I throw it on, and from the very first track, ain't nothing wrong with that. Um, Jake has probably seen some pretty outrageous dancing from me on this. I had to give him some therapy for it. But this is just a great album all the way through. Who is Robert Randolph? He came up through the sacred steel tradition in the church, and this is very much a soul rock album. Uh, Man, I can't tell you just how good this CD is. You just need to get a copy. Um, there are some guest stars on this album. Uh, Dave Matthews guest stars on "Love Is the Only Way," and Eric Clapton joins him on the cover of uh, Doobie Brothers, "Jesus Just All Right." It's kind of got a booklet here. Let's see if I can find a good picture of there he is. There's Robert Randolph. Just fantastic stuff. There's the disc in the back. All right, so the second album that I picked up, I can't help but feel good listening to this album. It's Ken Tamplin and Axe to Grind. We've talked about this album a little bit, shown it a little bit, especially talked about that goofy cover. But despite the goofy cover, man, this album is a guitars wailing all the way through, and it's all upbeat and lots of great guest stars. I don't even think I can really get into Scott Van Zen and Lanny Cordola and I want to say Mark St. John. All right, there's Ken Mary on drums, Chuck Wright on bass. I think both of those were guys that were in House of Lords with Lanny Cordola. Here's the full cover. If you can get past the some of the goofiness in the presentation, Tamplin's stuff is great. I'm a huge Huge Ken Tamplin fan. And I'll put some links down in the description so that you can check out the music for what a couple of these albums at the end are so obscure that I don't even know if there are samples on YouTube. So anyway, the next one, John Gibson, Jesus Loves You. John Gibson is a kind of a soul R&B artist. Very influenced by Stevie Wonder. Kind of wears that on his sleeve. But I mean, he's great. I mean, he has met Stevie Wonder, and they have, matter of fact, they've performed together. Stevie Wonder played harmonica on another one of his albums when he covered Stevie's Have a Little Talk with God. I think Prince has had him play at a private party. This guy's legit. And this album is probably my favorite of his, Jesus Loves You, especially that title track. It opens with he records a little child singing Jesus Loves You, and then the traditional Jesus Loves You song, and then he kicks into his song, Jesus Loves You. Yeah, love some John Gibson. Okay, now, did you really think you're going to make it through a video without me? This is the Russ Taff portion of the video. And I have not one, but two albums. Two albums that were kind of dance oriented that he sang on. And Russ is not really a dance oriented artist, but there were two projects that came along, and they are what they are. They're dance albums. The first one is Adventures in the Land of Big Beats and Happy Feets. This is fun. I had this on cassette back in the day. Basically, they've got these little tracks in between remix tracks. All of the songs on here came from different albums. Russ is on here with I've Come Too Far, which is from his Metals album. Who else is on here? Amy Grant, Wise Up, which I believe was on Unguarded. Some of them are stretches. I mean, they pulled Jericho from the Ideola album, which was basically Mark Hurd. That, I was like, man, that's kind of an odd song for a dance album. But they put it in there, and also Steve Taylor doing Svengali, though it works. It does work. I'll give them credit. Now, a song like Kim Boyce doing I Just Want to Celebrate, that worked really well. The Imperials doing Fallen, and Philip Bailey doing Thank You. So it's an interesting album. In between, they've got these little segments by people. I think these are made up names like Rakim D and the Garden Beats, Bunny Wop and the Hip Hop, Billy B and the Bee's Knees. Yeah, so that's Adventures in the Land of Big Beats and Happy Feets. The second one is really interesting to me because it's Soul Lift, a soundtrack for the soul. The producer of this album is Rick Altizer, and that when I was looking at the credits and saw his name all over it, it really struck a chord with me because Rick Altizer is also the director of the new Russ Taff documentary, which will be showing Tuesday night. Oh wow! Well, that's an interesting connection. And this album came out way back in 2001. So, um, but when it came out, I knew I wanted it, even if it kind of is described as techno. But the artists on here are such for a techno album. The artists that were selected for this album are just amazing. You'd never dream some of these people would be on a techno album. We're talking about Johnny Cash, gospel Southern gospel legend Vestal Goodman, uh, Mike Rowe of the 77s. 77 is one of my favorite bands. Jeff McCormick, if you haven't seen his 77s collection and overview, you need to go watch it. It was really good. Uh, yeah. So, and then of course Russ. And at first I thought there was a misprint because it said Russ would be singing solid rock. Well, I thought, well, that's a misprint because he had a song called Rock Solid on Metals. But then I got to listening to this. When I got it, I listened to it and I thought, well, wait a minute. No, he's singing the hymn Solid Rock. It's it's definitely altered for the album, but he's singing, and I've never heard him do that song before. And I think most of the vocals on here, maybe with the exception of the Johnny Cash album, were recorded just for this album. Um, the Mike Rowe song, um, Mercy Seat, is absolutely outstanding. Russ does a great job with solid rock. Um, the interesting with the liner notes, there is a Bible study. So these songs weren't picked just randomly. I mean, they were picked for their lyrical content, and so very interesting project from Rick Altizer, who is the producer of the upcoming Russ Taff documentary. So those are 5 albums that leave me in a better mood. Now, as a bonus, he asked, "What is it about record collecting that makes us happy, or something of that nature?" And uh, I thought about it, and I don't know if this really fits in the spirit of what he was looking for, but I think for me, because when I think about doing this and what does that mean to me, I think the thing that I enjoy the most is the interaction and the potential to have an impact on somebody. So one of my favorite moments didn't actually happen on this channel. It happened on Jimmy M's channel. It was the first time I saw someone hold up a record, and he was holding up a Samantha Fish record, and said that he had seen it on my channel and had ordered it. And I guess that to me is the coolest part of that. That makes me happy to be able to share music with folks. And so having him show that album was really cool. And I got a message here recently from Halloween fan Mark talking about, hey man, thanks for Larkin Poe is awesome. Thanks for introducing me to him. And that's great, man. I love being able to share that. And so I guess that's what I enjoy the most, or what kind of makes me happy, is to be able to to introduce people to great artists that maybe they wouldn't have heard, because unfortunately, talent level of talent doesn't necessarily equal popularity. There are a lot of inferior musicians that have massive followings, and a lot of great musicians that don't. And so I guess that would be my answer to the bonus. So Steve, man, you got a great channel. I really appreciate your coming into the VC, and what you do on your channel, the stories that you tell, and the music that you show. And so, congratulations on the subs, and I hope that I hope you enjoyed this video. So have a great weekend, everybody. I hope, if I can get my sinuses to calm down, to shoot a lot more this weekend, but we'll see. For now, we'll catch you later.